You know, I feel they're responsible for starting Grubhub. I didn't actually start Grubhub, but I worked at a Greek restaurant. It was called Greek Corner, and right around the block from my house. It was perfect, and I used to deliver the food. And I didn't work there. I was just friends with the owner, and like if a driver got sick or couldn't show up for the shift, he'd call me in and I'd cover his shift because they needed a driver, and it's very hard to find one at last minute. And I lived around the block, and I didn't work, so I was like, I'll fill it in, and the way I worked, with the other guy, because there was more than one driver, and I would give the other driver all the deliveries, and when we got into a clutch situation, I would fill in. So I'd let the other guy make all the tips, make all the money, because I didn't need it. So, I just tried to be fair, and but I put their menu on the internet. Grubhub didn't exist at this point. And I put the Greek Corner menu on the internet, and I created I couldn't get GreekCorner.com, so I got GreekCorner.biz, and we had the GreekCorner.biz, and we put it on the door and let people know where it was, and they can go there and they can see the menu. And every so often they raise the prices or something, and I would redo it and up the prices, just basically change the prices and stuff. But it wasn't like Grubhub where you could input anything. It was just a menu on the internet, and you had to call in and order and give them anything you wanted and all that, and their guy would deliver it. There was no email sent from the website or anything like that. It was just a seed. It was the beginning of Grubhub. So I feel a bit responsible. I tried to make their business better, that's all. I got their customers, so they didn't have to come all the way there, and they didn't have to keep a menu around the house. They just go on the .com and go to .biz and see what's there. And it would be updated, so you get the updated prices and all that too. So like you would have an old menu with old prices, stuff like that. But I don't know. Now, I got to tell you a story. The old guy, Dominic, ran the restaurant. He owned the restaurant. Him and his brother Mario. And Dominic, I'm there working, just hanging out because I didn't do all the deliveries. I'm just hanging out. And they would have the paper / wax Coke cups, the ones they give to go, with the word Coca-Cola on it. And I was using that to drink water or to drink soda, whatever I was drinking at the time. And just hanging out with the cup. And he comes up to me, Dominic comes up to me with a calculator, and he's like, starts banging away at the calculator. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, well, look. He's like, that cup costs 30 cents. And he goes, well, if you drink soda out of that cup for like the next 6 months, it's going to cost me like $30, $40 or even more. I don't know what the number was, like $300 or something. You had to calculate the price of the cup. He wanted me to use because it was a restaurant, the washable cups, he doesn't pay anything. And that was the point he was trying to make. And the point was, he's so cheap. He was so cheap that way, He's like dying over my 30-cent cup, And I'm an accountant, so I understand his logic. I know where he was coming from, but I laughed, when he did it to me, I laughed, But he was right, he's right. And when you own a business, I'm not saying just a restaurant, a florist, a nail salon, anything, you have to watch those little expenses, because I'll tell you, the Greek Corner doesn't exist anymore. They went out of business. So even though that he was so cheap, that business went out of business. That's why you get like these sports guys. They retire and they open a bar, or somebody wins the lottery and they open a bar, and they're broke in like a year because they gave away all the liquor. They gave away everything to their friends, and the friends didn't pay the electric bill, and when the electric bill came due, they didn't have any money to pay it. So it's a hard reality, but when you own a business, you have to be frugal, if you want to keep your prices down, and you can't charge somebody $20 a hamburger and and give 10 of your friends free ones. You know, for one, it's not fair, and for one, you're going to be out of business. And that's what happens. So, if you have a restaurant or you own a bar, don't tell your friends.